Hello, well, welcome to our first
Ever
actual
book club episode.
Yeah, woo!
We are BK Book Club.
Yes.
The more you read, the more you know. What are we eating tonight, Kelsey?
Tonight we have London broil with an herb butter, compound butter, smashed potatoes, and Brussels sprouts.
And it's medium rare for all you people out there.
Yes, obviously.
We also have a delicious Pinot Noir from Menage a Trois because we drink it tonight.
Yeah. You gotta have some wine, you gotta have some food. No joints tonight.
No sense, unfortunately.
Joints only at my house.
Mm-hmm. Well, technically you could smoke them here, but you just have to smoke outside.
So joints only at my house.
Well, the next time that we'll be filming, we'll be at Cullen's, and so you can probably smoke one there.
I probably won't do that in his house.
Anyway.
3 weeks from now,
right.
You'll see me.
Eventually. So today we're going to talk about the first 6 episodes of A Court of Thorns and
chapters.
Episodes, yeah. Chapters probably smells right. Smells so right. Not even a glass in, y'all. That's fine.
It's our first episode.
Mm-hmm. We got to get up at once. And this food's amazing. So, Kelsey, what were your first impressions?
So far, dislike her family.
Rotten hell.
Yeah, they did not treat her very well and were not appreciative. I also.
How do we say her name again?
Feyre.
Feyre.
And we only figured that out because of.
They enunciate it for us.
Yep, one of the sisters says Feyre.
Feyre.
Yeah, it is Feyre. Feyre or Feyre? I think it's Feyre.
I think it might actually be Feyre.
Because I think it's Feyre because I was like, oh, Fae as in high Fae.
Yeah. Yep. Feyre. Chapter 2, page 13.
In case anyone wants to know.
In case anyone wants to double check. Yeah, so aside from just her family, what were some of your other first impressions? What were some of your other thoughts?
I mean, if I had a family like that and a handsome man was like, hey, want to live in my mansion with me? I'd be like...
To be fair, we didn't know he was handsome until we got to the mansion.
Honestly,
he was a beast with...
I grew up with Beauty and the Beast, so...
Stockholm Syndrome is alive and real, y'all. This is also just setting the precedent of what our humor is like. Run away with a beast? Sure.
Look, you gotta go where you're appreciated.
I don't know if she's appreciated yet.
I mean,
she could still get eaten. Who knows? Doubtful, since there's a whole series.
I feel like we know. But romance books, you kind of get a feeling of what's gonna happen.
As long as he's hot, that's all I care about.
Yeah, well, maybe not all I care about.
He could be dumb as rocks as long as he's hot.
As long as he's kind.
All right. And what am I going to bitch about? Let's be real.
Me.
Fair. I think for me, first impressions that I thought was really interesting is that there wasn't a lot of detail in, like, it set just enough of the scenery detail for you to kind of like formulate something in your head. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, there's a map because there was some parts of it that I was like, where in conjunction to X, Y, and Z?
I also look at maps. I was flipping back.
But like something I noticed because I'm coincidentally also reading other books at the same time just because we have to break this one up. But like reading Game of Thrones, like there's really not that much description of how everything's supposed to look. I mean, there's some instances where they're like, this is what it looked like, or like sun-kissed skin, or his manhood. But I think it's really interesting when a writer, as someone who likes writing myself, also puts like a little less detail so that you can paint the picture yourself. Mm-hmm. Like that's exciting to me. And it makes me more interested in how the rest of the book's going to turn out and how they're going to explain all the other realms. I'm assuming there's more than just one court.
Yeah, well, I think she kind of already said that.
What do you think about the world building that the author has provided us? Sorry, I'm also reading I'm reading questions just to keep the ball rolling and keep it engaging for you all. Which also, to be fair, something I wanted to mention is if you guys would like the comments to have or the description to have the questions so that you can respond to us too, just let us know. We'll throw those in there.
Or type as we are asking
As we're
them.
talking. Yeah. Because we're asking the questions that I would provide. So, but for you,
well, I kind of feel like I was going to kind of just talked about that. Yeah, I feel like we just kind of got started with it because
it's fine. My roommate's gonna one side. Don't worry about it.
We just kind of got started because she was kind of describing like her place of living, just kind of gray and dull, and then we got to like the pretty land.
Straight up poverty. That was where she was living. Yeah. I also thought it was interesting. I'm just making sure that we already covered a couple of questions, but it's fine. I thought it was interesting that the barbarian, what were they? Whatever, the hired sword.
Mercenary.
The mercenary was like, oh, this isn't a Fey pelt, but it turns out that it was. You know what I mean?
Maybe she just assumed that it wasn't because
of the location, maybe?
Well, and because Feyre killed it. Like, no one believed that she could.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Until they actually talked about, like, gender norms, like, in chapter 3, I didn't realize that she was a woman. There wasn't really a lot of mention to gender at that point.
I'm trying to think now, and maybe I just assumed it was a woman because, like, a lot of romance books come from...
And we also know that there's so many other books, too, and we're also very aware because this is a social media phenom, but...
And I have friends that have read it. And I guess just the name, I probably was bad, but I was a little biased. I assumed it was a woman.
Weird.
Sorry, guys.
No, but I do think that was interesting. First couple episodes, I'm going to say that the entire time.
Yeah.
First couple of chapters, though, I thought it was interesting that you couldn't really tell the gender because there was no specificity towards it.
Did they not?
No, not right away. It was probably not until she like brought the deer home and interacted with her family that you start to get a sense. Because even then, she still had like the male gender norm of being the hunter-gatherer.
Yeah, and I guess maybe that's why I just assumed because she mentioned that her sisters didn't do anything. So I just assumed that if she was expecting the sisters to do it.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like especially in romance books, you have that masculine personality with the men in the books. So
100%. They
would just automatically assume that role in books.
Where they should only assume that role is in books. Next question.
Not only if you want to hunt, go and hunt, but girls can hunt too.
No, I meant to say that there should be no gender norms. Like
yeah.
Whatever you want. But.
Like, not me. I don't want to hunt. I would throw up.
How does Feyre's need to survive influence her choices? What does this tell you about her character?
I think that it's not really her need to survive. I feel like her motivation is making sure her family survive. Because if it was just about her surviving, she would have been out of there.
She was like, just take me now.
Peace out. Y'all suck, and you're making me do so much more work.
Well,
so I feel like
she mentioned it at some point, right? Where she's like, well, the wolf could kill me, but then I have to worry about my family.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting too, though. And this could just be me as an avid reader who reads a lot of like slow burn kind of books. I thought that the whole so we've only read up to chapter 7. We read chapter 1 through 6.
Yeah.
So what's really interesting to me is that it feels like a lot happened in a very short span of time, which also makes me think so for instance,
I don't feel that way.
And like I said, it could just be because I read a lot of slow burn kind of books, where it takes 14 chapters before we actually figure out what the plot's going to be.
Well, I think that it's going to be a slow burn. It's just going to be her adjusting to not trying to escape, not trying to. So my
Thinking from a technical point.
Well, I just read a series. Currently currently reading, but have read all in like it's the Blood and Ash series, and so they have like really similar themes and things like that. So I feel like, yes, she's already with the bad guy,
quote unquote.
You know where we're at. I should really not be like swinging around. Not
Something
Dorian.
Gray.
Christian Grey. Dorian. I think Dorian is the actor.
That's literally
I still think it'll be a slow burn because she doesn't even know we don't even know his name yet.
The whole leading up to her, like, I guess this is where it comes in for me, is they literally knocked her out for 4 days.
2
days. And then the whole I'm too hungry to run thing. I was like,
You have to remember they were already.
No, I know. I get it. I'm not disproving that. I'm just saying, like, there's a little part of me that's just like, this was a little quick. But I get why though, because there's what, 4 books, 5 books? So there's entire like.
But it's not each book is about them.
No, I know that. Okay. But what I'm saying is that it's gonna set up for that to be like built upon later, is what I mean. And that's the other thing that I find interesting too, and more. I'm sorry to talk about the technical aspects of the book too, is that like we don't know everything. Like we haven't gotten her entire backstory, and I love that.
And that's another thing. I'm like, are you going to tell us how you lost your money? Not that we really need to know, but I'm a nosy bitch.
No, I know it. One of the things that I hate about the first 4 Harry Potter books is that we hear the same story over. It's like the beginning to every Spider-Man movie. We know Peter Parker got bit by a spider. Aunt May is the only person looking out for him. His parents died some other way or what have you, which we never really get a full description of.
I just now and it's probably in the comics, but I don't read the comics. Let us know if you know how Peter Parker's
mom parents
died.
How he ended up with Aunt May. We know how Ben died.
Yeah.
But
is there even an Uncle Ben in the Tom Holland ones?
Not in the Tom Holland ones, no.
What about the Andrew Garfield ones?
I don't know. I never watched the Andrew Garfield ones.
He's like, you guys are supposed to be talking about a book, and you're talking about Spider-Man.
Well, I'm just making segues, right? I'm just going to talk about the different aspects of like storytelling, which is one of the reasons that I read books in the first place, is because I also want to learn how to be a better storyteller myself.
Yeah.
But the killing of the wolves. What are your thoughts on the scene when Feyre kills the wolf? Feyre. Did you anticipate the consequences that followed? I didn't expect.
No, because I thought it was just a wolf.
I thought it was just a wolf.
Because why would we know otherwise?
I mean, the way that they described it, it was just a larger animal that could have potentially came from. It starts with a P.
Oh, Prithian or something.
Prithian. It could have been a Prithian wolf.
Okay, side note. Fantasy writers, I get it. It's supposed to be all fantasy, but can you make things easier for me to pronounce?
Seriously.
In the Blood of Ash, in one of the books, there's in the beginning like how you are supposed to pronounce. And let me tell you, don't
give anything away from that.
No. Some of them where I was pronouncing it, and then where I saw it, was like, mine makes more sense. I'm doing it my way.
To be fair, when I first started reading Harry Potter, I said all those names wrong. Like Dumbledore and Hermione, I said all of them wrong.
I love Harry Potter, but I was a movie person and then book person.
Oh.
But I was never.
That's why I'm glad we're reading this now, because I'm afraid they're going to turn it into a movie, and then we're not going to be able to get the full story.
Yeah, but what I liked about that is I didn't like miss any details. I fell in love with the movies, and then I got more details instead of details getting taken away. Yeah, because I don't think I would have loved. No, there's a lot of things you don't hear about. I think I wouldn't have loved the movies as much as I did had I been like, okay, where the fuck is this? Where's literally all of Ron and Hermione's like personality? Yeah. Where's Ginny's personality?
Seriously. It's interesting too because they're going to be remaking that into a mini series on HBO.
And I just,
anyway, we're sidetracked. Yeah. But I didn't think that the consequences. I thought a wolf was wolf, and I thought that especially when she went and saw the mercenary, and the mercenary was just like, this isn't Faye.
Yeah.
So, which also, if you guys have a proper way of pronouncing this, because we think it's still pronounced fairy, so it could be fairy.
Yeah.
We're just not sure.
Which is like barely a difference, but still.
Exactly.
I also I thought if it was fairy, fae, whatever, it would have like once it died, like turned into
something. Yeah.
Yes.
Which I liked how there wasn't like some drop of rose petals and shining light and all that stuff for him to turn into a human or to an elf.
Well, there was white light.
That's it though. And it was quick. It was like one sentence. It was like in a flash, basically. Which I'm like, okay, I can make that up in my head. And I can make it as extravagant or at least extravagant as possible.
Yeah.
Which I like that idea. And again, going back to the technical part right in the book, I'm like, ooh, I like this. But I think that this is set up for an interesting story. Like the whole when the maid, which are the maids in such fairies as well?
I've read just as much as you.
No, but I'm saying, like, what was your understanding?
My understanding is
because they didn't seem human.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think they're fairies.
Well, they also have a hierarchy because they have high fae and then they have fae.
Yeah.
So it's a curious like.
And I don't know why I got that she might be human.
That the maid that helped her was human. I don't know. I mean, she does do the whole like, keep your mouth shut, be right, and everything will go fine for you. And
I feel like if she was a fairy, she wouldn't care.
Stockholm syndrome, Jesus Christ. But
honestly, like I know Stockholm syndrome is bad. I know, but like
this is just your perspective on life.
I was literally about to say, but like at this point in my life, if somebody was like, "Hey,
listen,"
and like you could tell, because you couldn't tell if it's like a nice.
I gotta tell you, if aliens are real,
and like
fucking take me,
and
beam
like
me up.
if this guy was like, "Hey, come live with me in this nice," and like everything's taken care of, like,
and that's the other thing is
okay, and then if it's bad, like. Bye.
I have to say, and I don't know, have you ever really played video games at all?
I mean, besides like Wii
like
and Mario Party, no,
like
because I always end up either looking up, like down, or all the way up, and I can't figure out how to do both of them moving.
Cognition's hard for you.
You know what? It is. I had to go to handwriting therapy and everything, and speech therapy.
I can't wait for that to slip out.
Yeah. It's fine.
But the reason I say that is because to me, like the description of the masks reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy, which has that kind of like these fantastical masks, and they're not for any real purpose aside from fashion.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was interesting. I like that I'm painting a very interesting picture in my head based off of my experience in fantasies. So moving on to the next question. Surreal's warning, which we kind of broached that, which is the Surreal warns Feyre. I'm gonna get it eventually, y'all. There's only 42 chapters. I'm sure I'll get it once. Warns Feyre of greater danger. What do you think the danger could be? How does this foreshadow future events? And that's the big thing. So we're like, 6 chapters in?
Yeah.
And a lot of times authors will set the precipice, like the pretense or the precipice of the entire story in the first 6 chapters.
Right.
It's almost like a horror movie. Like, you know that you've already met them once. So what do you think the danger is going forward?
I just think because even when the beast, we don't know his name yet, and what was it? Lucian was the other guy's name. When they were even
Lucian sounds hot. I'm sorry, a guy with long hair and a scar, sold. I'll take it. Sign me up. Anyway, this is what she has to deal with first.
I feel like because they were even talking, I think there's just going to be some of the Fae that just doesn't want her around, doesn't want her safe. Like you killed Andreas, and you know who we're talking about.
The guy, the wolf.
The wolf. And probably will like want her dead and to like try to maybe kill her or hurt her or anything like that.
I have a prediction.
Okay.
That the war that went on eons ago and separated the mortals from the Fae was unnecessary. That the humans were actually, because let's be realistic here, the humans were actually the problems.
Yeah.
And I feel, and that's why like he was like, you can live anywhere on the land, you don't have to stay here. Is because humans would have been treated fine. And I think that the wolf.
But he also had to grant her permission to live there.
by trusting in a treaty.
Mm.
So, and it makes me think, like, I don't know. Like, I need more details, and I want to have a sit-down conversation with these people, but...
I'll just call him up. What if you just called Taylor up?
Please. But it makes me think that everything is backwards, that it was actually the humans that were enslaving the Fae, and that the Fae revolted and ended up creating the wall and separating everything. But I'm curious as to why the Fae are going across the wall. That's an interesting thing for me. Because if they live in a world of opulence and everything, and he's like, we told him never to go down there, and he went anyway.
Well, and he's like, he knew the risks, and
Yeah, what is that about?
Because it almost seemed like he was set on, like, a mission.
Yes, exactly what I was thinking, too, which makes me wonder if it's a half-breed mission. Maybe there's half-breeds, and they're trying to round them all up. It's almost like the Targaryens, trying to get all the Targaryens.
You know, I didn't watch or read any of that.
Maybe you don't get it, but they might.
Well... I am also wondering which series came out first, this one or the one I was reading.
Oh, the Ash and Bone thing that you're talking about?
Blood and Ash.
Yeah. That was close.
Because I feel like there is a lot of...
back and forth.
Similar themes and...
100%.
Well, which, I mean, it's...
But this is also the
smutty romance fantasy, so...
Ew. This is also why I kind of picked this one, though, because I've never heard anything about the one that you were talking about. I feel like this one might have been around longer, which we could all be wrong. Do not come for us. We are just speaking from a place of ignorance. This is our first episode. Don't hate us now.
Well, and my friend who has read both of the
series.
But I'm just trying to remember if my friend Sarah has read both.
It's a really unfortunate thing that there's no way for us to look that up and find out.
Anyways, I think it was Sarah who was like, I'm glad you read this series and then are reading this series, because she did say she liked this one better.
Okay.
So but I did find my friend Blood and Ash one from TikTok.
Did you ever,
Tickety talk. Can you see TikTok on YouTube?
I have no idea. We're about to find out. So one of the things that I find interesting too is that, like, I was doing some research on, like, there's this really cute Irish man that I follow on Instagram, and he's bisexual, and he talks about the different books that he reads, and one of them was this one specifically, and if I could remember your name, I would call you out right now, but I can't remember it. I'm not saying you're not memorable, I just don't remember your name. But,
I like how we're just assuming that he's gonna watch it.
Girl, I'm assuming anything is possible at this point.
Anything
I'm like, we need to find a contractor.
If you just believe.
We need to get it copyrighted. Like, anyway. Big dreams, y'all. Big dreams. Did you ever read the House of Night series?
No.
I didn't read all of them, and I know that for sure. But that was like teen smut.
Okay, I was like, why does that sound
It was like teen smut. I was reading that in high school.
Do you know what they are? This isn't teen smut, but it's teen books. I think I asked you this, but I forgot. Did you read The Uglies?
No. We could, add it to the list.
It's a movie's coming out, so that's why I was wondering, or a show or something. But me and my sister watched them.
I think I've seen the, like, poster for it.
The House of Night, is that the one that
takes place in, like, Oklahoma? And it's like vampires exist, but they're not like the blood-sucking kind of. But they're not like the blood-sucking kind of vampires.
I don't think it's the one I'm thinking of.
It's actually really more interesting because it's integrated into, like, a lot of Native American lore and, like, connection to actual, like, Earth and the seasons and all that stuff. So
no, I think I would have to see if I did read that one. Honestly, I would just have to ask my sister. The Marked series. Did you ever read that one?
Did you read Mortal Instruments?
Yeah.
Infernal Devices?
No, my sister read that. I did. I don't think I read it. So sometimes she talks to me about things, and I just think I also did it. And
yeah, that's like the conversations you have in your head with everybody else that's not really there.
It's not that I have conversations in my head. It's that I make things up that I thought people said, or they said it in my dream, and I just woke up thinking it was true. I have very realistic dreams, okay?
Can I clean off your breasticles for you? Thank you. I was like, consent's important, and I just wanted to make sure.
They catch a lot of things.
Yeah, well.
I'm like, this one is not
I'm glad the mic caught all that, because I didn't.
I know, I mumbled. I don't think the mic even caught it.
Next question. was at first, I'm like, is this a spoiler? It says themes of sacrifice. How does the theme of sacrifice begin to emerge in these chapters? How does Feyre?
Yeah, Feyre.
Willingness to sacrifice herself to her family impact your view of her? So I don't know if it's so much sacrifice in view of her family as it is loyalty to a promise that she made, which I feel could be different things. Because I don't feel like so much like she's just like, I made a promise to my mother that I would protect them.
Which the mother seemed like a see you next Tuesday. I don't know
Times
if you can say that actual word on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rules are.
I don't know if there's moderation on YouTube, to be honest, because I see a lot of tweets. So we're going to worry about that later. Back to the question at hand. So.
I don't know, because I was just annoyed the whole time at her family. So I was like, yes, girl, get the fuck out of there.
Seriously, I was like, if anybody showed up and was like, either you can die right now or you could die in another land, I'd be like, let me go check the other land out.
Let me at least see what's going on. Because
I'm going to die either
there's
way.
always the option where if you're being like when she was like, I might just live the rest of my life being tortured. There's another way out.
You could do it yourself.
Don't condoning it. It's not a joke. But we do joke about it.
Unfortunately, we joke about it a lot because we have a very twisted sense of mortality.
Mental illnesses.
That part too. At least one
undiagnosed.
At least one of us is in therapy.
Just raw dog and life over here. No medications, no diagnosis, no
except
official.
For self-medication.
I smoke weed, not like not popping pills.
Weed
every day. I haven't officially been diagnosed, but
I'm not going to ask this question because it reveals the guy's name.
Oh, and I also meant to say this about the dad. I did appreciate the dad being like, if you get out, don't come back here.
I thought that was really interesting.
Oh, we got some self-awareness. We love it.
Are we sure that's what it was? Or does he just think that they're all going to die in the 2 weeks that it's like?
No, I think he realized that like she does everything,
he did mention
and
that she is like underutilized there, very much so. Basically.
Not underutilized, underappreciated. She's overutilized.
There you go. Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean that fast. I really didn't. I feel like it was self-awareness because he kind of realized like, for whatever reason, they lost all their money. He got his knee busted out. Yeah.
Well, and the Predators came back. So were they living in Corinthian or whatever it is?
No, Corinthian is where the Fae live.
But so where were they
living?
I
think that there's just, just like any other...
Do we think that there's like a big city elsewhere? So this is the smaller version. We don't need this one. So the wall's there. Her village is there. Where would they have come from? There's no other like noticeable places.
I think that in the village, there's probably just poverty and non-poverty. I mean, look at literally anywhere in the world.
She did mention that though at one point.
Yeah, so I think
where,
that
like,
they
some
just
people were taking like looking for scraps or handouts was never coming from any of the upper class, which is shocking. Was this prophecy?
Welcome to just the world.
No,
it's very sad.
She wrote so much. The Court of Thorns and Rose series. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books.
Okay, and I heard.
Then there's the Crescent City
the Throne
series,
of Glass
which are
is
3.
really good. Sarah's reading that right now.
Throne of Glass. There's 1, 2,
the Throne of
3,
Glass
4,
coloring
5, 6,
book.
7, 8 books.
We can read and color.
Girl, God love you.
You don't color?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the.
Oh, I was like, I color sometimes. Gotta get that stressed out of your body.
Books. This came out in 2015. I thought it was newer than that, but I guess it just picked up popularity. Probably why. Anyway.
Probably because the people that were reading it came to an age where... Because I remember being younger and my mom would be reading like the Fabio books, you know?
So your mother read the Fabio books.
Yes, and I always was like, that's such a weird thing. And then now look at me. I'm like, I get it now. Because 100%, those were all... Well, I haven't read any of them, but I'm assuming all of them are smut.
80s smut.
Yeah.
A new question.
Okay.
Moral ambiguity.
Mm.
Do you think Feyre's killing of the wolf was justified? How does this act blur the lines between right and wrong in the story?
I think it all depends on, like you said, whose side was actually right, who was in the wrong. Because
I'm not even thinking
and
about
it's
it
like it's a wolf.
Exactly. I'm not thinking about it in terms of like
The
Fae
Fae, yeah.
humans. I'm thinking about like you are in an instance where
But
your option is
also,
food or get killed.
but that wasn't really her options. If she would have just fucking chilled, the wolf could have taken it.
But there's no guarantee that the wolf wouldn't have smelt her and came after her.
Yeah.
Because they gave the positioning, if you think about hunting, they gave the positioning of the wolf in like conjunction to the deer, but they didn't say like where she was. She could see both of them.
I don't know, because I also feel never mind.
No, say it. This is why we're doing a YouTube series. She was reserved to the fact that if she fought the wolf, she could potentially die.
Yeah, but she also said I should have been running by now because maybe they would have still focused on.
But there was something about it that she was like, I can't leave yet, which made me think that, again, it's strange to me. And maybe we could be wrong. Maybe the wolf was just a wolf, but it was just friends with the High Fae. Because we don't know what their connection is to the animal kingdom.
Yeah, and if they can go into like a little beast, they might be able to talk to
exactly,
the wolves.
because it seemed like that horse was very bound to whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, we're not at that point yet.
That's very true. I don't know. I feel like some people just don't necessarily need to live out their lives fully if you're going to be a really bad person. So if she thinks that the wolf was
choosing your words
a really right bad person, like if you think about the worst people in the world, and you think about like,
we'll say Hitler, for instance.
You know, the world would have been a better place without Hitler.
There is a deep dive I want to go here, but I'm just going to not because we're talking about books. Just about the whole
like butterfly effect, and if there's no Hitler,
there's always going to be a bigger fish.
But it's always like
my life story has proven to me that there's always going to be a bigger fish. So
anyway. Yeah, there's a couple big fishes in America right now.
Exactly. The world needs less big fish,
or at least big bad fish.
Yeah.
Give us some more Dolly Partons.
Honestly, or Taylor Swift.
You know, I live. Oh, people are going to be in the comments being like,
oh, wait until they find out I'm gay.
Yeah, because they can't tell already. Surprise!
That's a read.
You literally talked about hot men this whole time.
So this is the final question.
He's like ignoring that, moving on.
Just moving right along. What are your predictions for the next let's say, so originally, for everyone who's watching, we had originally thought about breaking this up by 6 episode intervals.
6 chapter intervals.
That part. Chapters. I'm going to say episodes forever.
And I will keep correcting him.
And, you know,
because I love to.
I was like, as you would.
Your island peninsula. Let me tell you about my best friend. Sorry for that singing, y'all. That was terrible.
What are your predictions for the next
besides the obvious ones?
12 episodes or chapters. Because we're going to read 12 next. So that means that it'll put us to... Actually, here, I've got it written down, so I'll tell you exactly where we're going to end up. We are going to read up to chapter 18.
Okay.
So,
because I feel like you and I are both big readers, and I was talking to...
It's fine. We can talk about that later.
Yeah. You're right. I forgot what the question predictions.
What are your predictions for the next 12 episodes? Chapters.
Besides, like, well, how many chapters in total are there?
There are 42. We're gonna have to get the next one soon.
Yeah, I should put it in the library already.
Well, originally I had said 12 episodes, like 12 chapters, but
yeah.
then I was like, well, maybe that's too much.
Yeah, but then talking people are like, you're gonna want to, because
Yeah,
that's what's gonna be the
12
hardest.
chapters
Is
would
like
be-
we have a hard stop,
Yeah.
and like which actually will be good for me because then I won't be staying up until like the
2
wee
a.m..
hours.
Oh my god.
I wish it was 2 a.m. It's always like 4 a.m.
I read a
like,
Grady Hendrix book that I literally like forced myself to stay awake to finish because I was like, I need to know how it ends. What are your predictions? Aside from the sex and the smut.
right, besides her falling in love with.
Now we're gonna talk this.
Yeah, I want to be fancy.
Dainty.
Gotta cover up the feet. Can't get that for free.
I didn't know that was a thing. I've been giving it away for free. Well, to be fair, I've been on Grindr, so.
You give it all away for free.
Now I have a ring light, so things could change.
Besides the obvious that she's gonna fall in love with the beast person.
Mine's flashing, so I'm wondering if I am. Oh. I wonder if I've been on mute this entire time.
Hopefully mine will have picked it up.
Exactly. Go ahead. Keep going.
I feel like Luciana and her are gonna become BFFs because she's gonna give him shit, and I feel like he's gonna like her being a little bit feisty.
Do you think that I feel like there's a love connection between Luciana and the Beast? We're calling him the Beast because we don't know his name yet. Technically, ChatGPT gave me his name, but we're not going to use it.
How rude! I thought because like obviously this is a really popular whatchamacallit.
Mm-hmm.
I was just moving it so because I was covering my feet more. Honestly, my feet are just also chilly. So I thought it was
cold right now. I'm fucking hot.
just my little toes.
Little toesies.
My
Go
little
ahead. Keep going.
toesies.
Sorry, keep on cutting you off. This is going to happen the entire time.
Entire time. And then I always lose my train of thought.
What do you lose? But what do you lose?
My train of thought.
Her and Luciana are going to become BFFs.
BFFs, yes. Oh, yeah. The love connection between.
Do you think that there was? I mean, they're fairies.
I
Fairies
feel like
fuck around and find out.
we'll have to see because I don't know if it's just like because obviously the beast is like higher up, and I think they said something about royalty already.
Maybe. I mean,
Or
he's
did I-
high fae is all we know so far.
Yeah,
But we don't know if
So-
that's like all of them are or just him.
it might just be like he's loyal to him because it's like royalty or because he has to be or something like that.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe they're besties. Yeah, we'll see. What are your predictions? Oh, I also feel like she's going to try to escape at least once.
At least once or twice.
At least once.
At least once or twice. I feel like I mean, first of all, she hates the whole like, she's like, a dress? Good God. Which is interesting to me. I'm like, girl, it's free.
I literally am
It's
like,
silk. Yeah, right?
sorry.
Take it. Nom, 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 nom. But projections or thoughts, I feel like at some point she will end up going home. And that could be at the very end of the book. That could be in the next book. I don't know. Because you said they're not all connected, but
They're all like connected, and because I just don't know what to, because I have obviously learned more because I'm on
then
TikTok
leave it alone.
and you're not.
Leave it alone. I'd rather us. Nope. I'm going in blind.
I watch, TikToks, and then I'll be
I don't
like,
even have a TikTok.
and then I'll tell him, don't worry, you'll see it in like 3 months.
When it shows up on Instagram Reels.
Like I don't even think Olympics are in the Instagram Reels right now.
Yes, they are. We got that break dancer.
Oh, poor thing.
God love her.
God love her.
God love her.
Kaylee sent me a thing that it was like, after however many glasses of wine, I can also be
I can also be an Australian breakdancer. I could.
Sorry, girl.
Good for you, though. Seriously.
The confidence.
Fuck all that. The fact that you made it to the Olympics, like, we're both sitting here drinking wine, being fat and happy. Like, girl,
No,
go.
fat and happy.
Getting all fat and happy.
I would literally die.
I'd
be out of
just
breath.
walking to the Olympics, I would, like, my heart rate would be like, you're done.
Did you see the? Oh, I didn't
Wait.
picture her name.
You just shush,
Okay.
shush, shush. So, aside from her going home and probably finding just the one sister that we all hate still being alive for some way, shape, or form, I imagine she's like a cockroach.
You think she's going to be the only? You think everyone else is going to be dead?
Only one. I think that no. I think the father will die.
Yeah.
But I think that the sister that we all were like, oh, you're so prissy and you're a piece of shit, turns out to be like, there might be an arc, like a character arc there. Because she's protective of the youngest sister.
I was going to say, but that's not the youngest sister. Feyre is the youngest sister.
But you know what I mean? The younger sister, the sister that's younger than her. I do think
she's going to be like, well, fuck, somebody has to step up and like now I'm saying the littlest one.
But
the
at
middle
the same
child.
time, it was really interesting that she seemed to take what Feyre said to heart about don't marry Thomas, whatever his name was.
Well, yeah.
Because he beats his wife.
Well, the dad beats the wife, which it's like.
Yeah, that's a learned behavior, y'all.
When I'm talking about people that maybe don't need to live their lives fully out, that guy in the book is one of them. Don't beat your wife. Don't beat your kids. Don't beat your husband. Don't beat your
anyone.
Spouse. I guess I should say spouse.
Just don't touch anybody who doesn't want to be touched. Consent's important, y'all.
I mean, you're not going to be like, hey, can I beat you up?
At the same time, you're also not going to put yourself in a predicament where you need to beat
sometimes I
up.
feel like people deserve to be punched in the face. They need to learn and they need to
be... Like Nazis. Nazis should be punched in the face. I love that you keep doing that.
I don't punch people in the throats, but I tell people I want to punch you in the throat, or I'm going to punch you in the throat, punch you in the face.
Punch you anywhere.
There's definitely people that I'm like, I really had the urge to punch you in the face right now, but I didn't, so you're welcome.
So this is the end. We are going to do a quick recap. We have read chapters 1 through 6. Up to chapter 7. Feyre has proved herself to be a hunter. Yes. A little bit on the like wild side. Like she's like, fuck it all the hell. Well, I mean, she got to a point where she was like, I'm just good. Yeah. And then she got...
I was expecting her to be
almost kidnapped, but not necessarily kidnapped. She went consensually.
Yeah.
She got on the horse. Like, let's be real.
It was either die or come with me. So it's like most
either die here or die there. And it
wasn't die here or die there. It was die here or come live.
Well, her concern was that she would go get tortured and all that stuff. Yeah. So a big part of me is like, I would have picked die there because at least I'd been able to experience it.
At least I get to travel the world.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, not the world, the area.
Whatever, the continent.
I don't even know if it's continent there.
I mean, according to the map, it is. It looks like a continent, at least what it would be on Earthling terms.
Or an island.
So if you would like to read along with us, we are reading chapters 7 to 24. So that means...
You said 18.
You're right, sorry. 7 to 18. Girl, I can count. It's okay.
You don't even have to count!
I know. So what that means is that we will read chapter 18 and stop at chapter 19. So 7 to 19, technically.
I feel like you should say 7 through 18. 7
through 18.
Because that could get confusing.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I guess doesn't matter because, like, you guys will just, if you read 19, if you've read the whole book.
We are ending on page 166.
166.
And as always, final remarks. You have anything you want to say?
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. It's been good. First inaugural episode.
It's been great. Sorry for my witch cackle. That will happen in probably every episode.
Every episode.
Yeah.
And I won't be able to count, so it'll be fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or say chapters
instead. Or chapter instead of... episode. Yeah.
Look,
listen, I started saying chapter, and now you're going to screw it all up.
We're going to just clunk through it.
We are.
And it's going to be great.
Honestly, guys, it can only go up from here.
I feel like we didn't do that
bad. But that's what I'm saying, is it can only go up from here. We have some mild production value here. As always, like, share, subscribe. Read along with us, though. Exactly. Comment. If you would like, in all honesty, if anybody would like the questions that I presented here, feel free. I can drop them in the chat or whatever, the comments.
The comments.
And then I will have to go through and edit us saying words that we're not supposed to say during this. So.
Well, we have to figure out which words we're not allowed to say.
I mean, I feel like if I put a parental advisory thing on it,
Yeah, because I
Just be
feel
like-
like there's got to be videos on YouTube that say the
100%.
C word.
I'm sure.
And you
And
and I like that
TikTok.
word. Yeah.
And the ticky of talks.
The clock app, as they say on the Instagram.
Are we
I don't
allowed
know
to
why I
say
did it.
Instagram?
I don't know anything about anything. All I know is I don't know nothing. And
That's it from us. So, thank you. Cheers to a good first episode.